Alright, today we're having a look at Japanese Summer Festival by Digital King. Alright, so here we are in Japanese Summer Festival by Digital King, and I'm not sure how much this is going to be a gallery and how much it's going to be a kind of gameplay type level. Oh my god! Hatsune Miku! Hatsune Miku! Here at my summer festival! Can I have an autograph? Could I, maybe? No? No, okay. She's too busy. That's understandable. It is very summer festival-esque, and we appreciate that. And, oh, looks like we got some stuff that's not loading in. Oh, that's a shame. I like these masks, though. They are lovely. I don't know who this character is. I think from Lucky Star. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this level precisely. Like if there's a wormhole. Hello? Yes? I am on the featureless plains of stone. Well, this is oh, it's 3D. And the camera, the camera could use a little bit of work, but that's okay. Wait, we're done? We're done. How are we done? Did somebody actually glitch this level to get 2 billion points? Because that's pretty slimy. I mean, I don't think you really needed to do that, honestly. Can I get back to the summer festival? I got some ups. I got some ups here. Just get that leg in the air. Just kicking. Kick it, wicket. I guess. I mean, it was cute. I'll give it that. There was not really a lot going on. I've got the feeling that our takeaway is going to be a very short takeaway. And that's okay. Sometimes we need that. But I hate this camera. Why though? Why is there nothing here? You tease me, Digital King, with a festival? You tease Visco with a festival? And then you do not give us a festival? I weep. I do not weep. I smile. But we're gonna go back to the hub and we'll see you there. See yas. And we're back. And Japanese Summer Festival by Digital King, and I'd say it's definitely it's an orange diamond. The problem I feel there's a number of problems, but I feel the big one is just the level doesn't seem to know quite what it wants to be. It feels like is it a hangout spot? Is it a gallery for these costumes? Is it like an eye candy? What does it actually want to be? And because it feels like it doesn't really know, it kind of fails at all of those points. There's not really enough in it going on. It feels like for it to be a hangout spot. You've just got like all the different festival stalls and all the the characters that are just standing there, not doing anything, just standing there. And then you've got that, the big empty 3D section before the end. So there's not like really something there, it feels like, to engage players who are maybe using the spot to chill or using the spot to roleplay. So there's that issue of it, but it's certainly not detailed enough to be like an eye candy level, where usually your eye candy levels are kind of like a one scene, or sometimes a collection of scenes with maybe a way to shift between the cameras on those and really kind of absorb all the work that the creator has done in making this scene. And you don't have that because there's not enough detailing in the scene. And as far as a costume gallery, and it doesn't really work as a costume gallery either, because there's not really any focus on the costumes. You've just got all of these characters that are kind of just standing there. The bit that we couldn't see in the video where things hadn't loaded in, those are just more costumes. They look like story mode costumes. I don't really think that there was any modification to them. Now, I do want to kind of focus on that costume gallery aspect of it, because I do run into a lot of these costume galleries, and a lot of them kind of suffer from the same issues. So what I did was I kind of put together something in create mode, and we're actually going to bop over there for a little bit of a tutorial. Just a really simple, largely low thermo way to put a little bit more focus on and love for your costume work, so that you can show them off a little bit better to players, because, you know, let's show off sometimes. It's always a little bit of fun to show off. So we're going to jump over there. We might come back here before the episode is finished. I'm not entirely sure yet. Depends how much I talk. But let's go over there. And here we are in testbed number 8. And I've just set up a little bit of a character OC gallery. And let's take a look at what they do first off. So when we walk in front of the booth, we get a nice close-up of what the actual costume looks like. When we hit R1 and L1, we can rotate the costume around. We can hold down both to get a pause as well. When we hit the O button, we can get a little bit of story about the character. And I'm not going to show it because I don't want to get the... I don't want to set off the trigger, but you can also get this costume to play with if you hit the triangle button. So we've got something where you can get a nice close focus on these costumes that you want the players to see, that you want to show off, because you put a lot of time into these costumes. So how did we get this set up? How did we do this? And we've got kind of a couple of different parts here. I'm gonna hold on, just want to trim that down there. There we go. You can see all the meat. Now, what we've got in our costume booth, and we've got the sack thing in the costume booth with a couple of different things on the microchip going on here. The follower is just to keep the sack thing floating. If you've got to move the booth around, there's a tag beneath that the sack thing follows. It's got anti-grav because we want it off the ground a little bit. Sack thing. It's a sack bot. It's a sack bot. Now, here's controlling the giving out the prize as a costume. We've got a tag sensor, and it's going to this emitter. And it's also going to a little bit of an acting sequence here where the character will talk to you once you get the costume. And last, we've got our rotators here. So we've got a rotator for turning to the right, a tag to turn to the right. We've got a tag to turn them to the left. Both of these are flowing into a directional combiner, and they're flowing into an OR gate. And the OR gate, basically what the OR gate is doing here is that anytime that these are on, it's going to turn on the microchip. When neither of them are being used, then the microchip is off, because otherwise it'll just keep rotating forever. But we've got a rotator set up here, and it's set to 45, just because well, we don't want it spinning around too quickly, making anybody sick. Now, we've also got our base pose here. This is a board loop that we've got for Mei Motoguchi. And this is set up to having the animation start and animation end right at the same time, so that it's kind of a frozen pose, that they're locked into that. But that's what it looks like on the Sackbot side of things. Nothing too flash there. Now, if we look here, and we've got this sticker material, and it's just a box of sticker material. And we've got here, inside the box of sticker material, we have a broadcast chip. Well, let's look at this first. We've got an impact sensor, and the impact sensor is set to include no touching and not require a tag. So it's just being set off of impact. Don't have rigid connections there at all. And collisions for all players, and that's going to give us that nice close look at the costume, or the character, however you want to call it. Now, in our broadcast chip, and the broadcast chip is set towards all in contact and is set to include touching. The way that these work sometimes is a little bit wonky. Sometimes you want things not touching, sometimes you want them touching. Broadcast chips, it seems like touching works best. Now, in the broadcast chip, we have a animation tweaker, and this is just set to no animation chosen, but the yaw angle set to 180, so it looks like our player is actually looking up at the costume. You don't need to have that there, but I like that little bit of extra detail that, you look like you're engaging with it. Now, we've also got a controlinator. The controlinator is set to receiver. It is set to control by nearest player, and it is set to players all. And those are the settings we want for the controlinator. And the controlinator is giving us a number of tags that are overriding our normal abilities. Now we've got the R1 is going to a tag labeled, sorry about that, is, hello? Hi, excuse me. R1 is going to a tag labeled right. L1 is going to a tag labeled left, so those are the rotators on the SACbot. The circle button that's here is going into the selector, and the selector is going to trigger on and off a tag called story. And the tag called story, we've got the sensor for it is here, because it's a little bit wonky getting things to read off of broadcast microchips into the same microchip that the broadcast microchip is on. Trust me on this one. So that's set outside of the microchip so it can get the tag from there. And that's going to turn on our note, and as long as the tag is active, then the note will tell us a story. As soon as the player leaves this box or hits the O button a second time, then this tag will turn off and the story will close. And last, we've got the triangle button is wired up to our prize sensor. And that's really all that it takes to get this to work. So we've got a nice little setup where player walks in front of the booth, and ta-da! You've got a really good view of this costume that you, the creator, have put a lot of work into. Now, you notice that if we look over at the thermometer is at about a third up. None of these costumes are particularly flash, but things like custom stickers do bump the thermo up a fair amount, but I've kept the booths set to just basic cardboard so that it's not going to take up too much space. And if we wanted to make another set, just copy those all up. We'd want to make a little elevator, of course, to go up to here, and then we could just change our costumes like this. And we noticed that the thermometer didn't really jump all that much. Now, we do want to have our costumes, we want to have them set apart. We don't want too many things that are all crowded together, because that's going to make it more difficult for the level to load in. Then we would just, we'd build an elevator here, so that we could check these out, and then keep on doing that, keep on repeating that for however many costumes and OCs that you would like to show your players. Now, you don't have to do your costume galleries like this. It's certainly not necessary, but it is one technique to, like I said, give a little bit more focus, give a little bit more of a close look at the hard work that you've done. You put some work into this, and you should be able to show it off. Now, I did mention that we give the costumes, I tried to give out, I haven't tested this yet, I tried to give out these costumes as prizes, and the way that I did that was by taking a basic SAC thing, and by SAC thing I mean SACbot, because I know how to talk. You're going to set whatever costume that you want on them. We're going to do a random one here. Now, when you give this costume out as a prize, when you give this SAC thing out as a prize in a prize bubble. And then the person who receives that, what you want to do is you want to go into create mode. You want to use the sack bot that you've won. So I've got like an example here. And when you go into the tweak menu for the costume, you can just hit save costume and it'll put that costume into your bank, basically. But I think that pretty much handles it for us here. I've talked a lot. That's not great. I've talked for a long time. But hopefully that this is a technique that you might use yourself. I think I'm probably going to publish this level just as a little bit of a show off, and so you can see what it looks like in play mode. But that really does it for us here this go about. So from me, Disco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.